There are nights when silence grows teeth, when the walls remember what you've tried to forget. For years, I kept it buried, believing if I stayed quiet, the fire would die. But it didn't. It only moved deeper into the marrow of my bones, whispering the same words over and over again. Close your doors quickly. I was shown something, not in a dream, not in a vision, but in the thin space between both. The hour when sleep forgets your name and dawn delays its coming. It was there the wind began to call, not outside, but within me. I tried to drown it with noise, with light, with the laughter of people who never knew what haunted me. But the call would always return, soft, patient, relentless. For nights without number, I lay awake listening to something older than time breathe through the cracks of my room. I could feel its presence like a storm waiting to remember itself. And each time I heard the whisper, "Close your doors quickly," a chill would pass through me, as though someone unseen was walking just beyond the threshold. Why was I chosen to see this? Why was my name spoken among the quiet ones who were never allowed peace? I asked the darkness for mercy, but it only answered with more silence. I thought it was punishment. Now I know it was calling. I held this secret too long. My tongue has blistered from silence, and my dreams have grown heavy with the weight of what I refuse to say. I have seen what most men never will. And some truths do not rest until they are spoken aloud. So tonight, I break the vow of silence I swore to protect myself. I open the door I swore I'd never touch again. I am not ready. I am not worthy. But obedience is heavier than fear. He is still calling. The air trembles with his footsteps. And before the light finds me, I must speak. I can't stay silent anymore. I remember the quiet before the storm. It was not the silence of peace. It was the silence of forgetting. Every morning came the same way. Light filtering through half-drawn curtains, the hum of the refrigerator, the slow breathing of a world half asleep. I would wake up, stretch my body, check my phone, and feel nothing. The messages blinked, the news scrolled, the world spoke, but none of it reached me. Everything looked alive, but I was numb. I would pour coffee and watch the steam rise, the ghost of heat vanishing into air, just like my prayers once did. The spoon clinked against the cup. The sound was sharp, but it never stirred me. I would dress for the day, move through the rooms like a shadow moving through memories. There was laughter somewhere outside, a child running, a dog barking, a vendor shouting. But inside, I felt hollow, as though my heart had been wrapped in gauze. The clock on the wall ticked, and I would stare at it sometimes, realizing I was not waiting for anything. I was just existing. Return to the fire. That refrain had not yet come to me then. But now I know it was already whispering beneath the noise of my life. The ticking of the clock was its rhythm. The fading of coffee steam was its smoke. I just couldn't hear it yet. I worked, yes, answered calls, smiled when I was supposed to smile, nodded when I was supposed to agree. But inside, I was drifting weightless, like a feather that had forgotten the warmth of the bird belonged to. I lived among people, but moved like an exile. Sometimes, late at night, I would sit in my room and scroll endlessly. Pictures of people laughing, praying, dancing, celebrating. All of it flooded my eyes but never reached my soul. I thought that was normal. I thought that was life. There were moments, tiny, quiet moments, when I would sense something at the edges of perception. A sudden stillness, a strange chill in the air, a faint hum, as though the world was holding its breath. I would look up, expecting to see something, but there was nothing, just my own reflection in the dark glass of the window, staring back at me with tired eyes. Return to the fire. The words weren't yet spoken, but my soul was beginning to ache for them. I thought I knew God. I said his name often enough, in blessings, in casual phrases, in borrowed prayers, but it was all ritual. I had memorized the language of devotion without knowing the sound of his heartbeat. I had become fluent in religion, but illiterate in encounter, and so I filled the emptiness with noise. I filled the silence with movement. I filled my hunger with imitation. But the more I tried to escape the void, the larger it grew. There was a day, I can still see it clearly, when I walked to work under a sky that looked too clean, too blue, as if it had been scrubbed of meaning. People were rushing past me, their faces locked in determination, but I could see the same thing in them that I felt in me. The quiet exhaustion of souls pretending to be alive. Returned to the fire. Even now, when I think of that day, I remember the smell of dust rising from the road, the chatter of strangers, the faint ringing in my ears that wouldn't stop. Something was changing in the air. I didn't know it then, but heaven had begun to move. The ordinary world was about to split open, and I was standing right at the edge of it, unaware, sipping from the cup of routine as eternity crept closer. In those final days of my normal life, there was no thunder, no vision, no prophecy. Just small cracks forming in the walls of my ordinary days. My laughter grew thinner. My distractions lost their sweetness. Even the music I used to love began to sound like a cry from far away. Return to the fire. The refrain was still hidden in silence, waiting for its moment to awaken me. If I close my eyes now, I can still feel that strange calm before revelation, the world shimmering with a kind of secret expectancy, the wind brushing against my skin like a question I could not yet answer. I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know how completely it would undo me. I didn't know that love could arrive like a storm that burns and heals in the same breath. But that morning, when everything still looked ordinary, I remember feeling a weight in my chest like a soft warning from eternity. Something holy was approaching, quiet and unstoppable. And soon it would call my name in the dark. Return to the fire. Return to the fire. Return before the light finds you unready. It happened without warning. No trumpet, no shadow crossing the sky. Just a stillness too heavy for morning. I remember the moment my breath caught, halfway between a sigh and a question. I was sitting alone, the same chair, the same room that had carried my emptiness for years. But that day, the air changed. It thickened, as if eternity had entered quietly and was waiting for me to notice. At first, I thought it was nothing, just fatigue, just the weight of another ordinary day. But then the world tilted, the colors dimmed. My heartbeat, once steady and faithful, began to tremble like a drum losing rhythm. He called my name in the dark. My hands, those faithful servants of habit, could no longer hold still. The room began to dissolve, not vanish, but melt into light, like wax surrendering to flame. My ears rang, my chest tightened, and I remember thinking, this is how it feels when the body becomes a stranger to itself. The noise of the world retreated, one sound at a time. The ticking clock, the phantom of electricity, the whispers of passing cars, all fell away into a silence so deep it seemed alive. Then came the stillness, and inside it a low hum, the heartbeat of the universe itself. I felt my pulse slowing, not with fear, but with awe. My body was fading, but something in me was awakening. The weight of flesh lifted, like mist from water. I was no longer bound to the gravity of survival. He called my name in the dark. The ceiling above me softened into a vast horizon. My vision stretched beyond walls and rooftops. Every breath became transparent. Every heartbeat an echo in eternity. And then I saw it, the door. At first, it looked ordinary, like something from memory, a wooden door worn smooth by years of touch. But the longer I stared, the more it changed. It began to shimmer, its edges dissolving into gold and silver light. It was not built by hands. It was breathing, living, waiting. The door was not an object. It was a presence. I could feel it calling, not with words, but with knowing. Every atom in my being leaned toward it, as though with a home I had always forgotten. He called my name in the dark. Then came the stillness after stillness, the kind that feels like the pause between lightning and thunder. I felt my last breath leave gently, not stolen but released. It rose from me like a feather carried by invisible hands. Below me, I saw myself, still motionless, fragile. My body looked like a memory that no longer belonged to me. The sight did not frighten me. It felt tender, almost sacred, the way one looks at an old photograph and whispers, "Thank you for carrying me this far." The air shimmered with light. It wasn't the light of day. It was older, wiser, more complete. It carried no color, yet contained them all. I was surrounded by it, within it, becoming it. Then the sound came, not with volume, but with gravity, not in my ears, but in my being. He called my name in the dark. The voice was neither male nor female. It was not thunder nor whisper. It was a sound of love remembering its origin. Every syllable carried the weight of 1,000 lifetimes and the softness of a mother's breath. And when he spoke, time folded. The years of numbness, the mornings of routine, the nights of loneliness, they all unraveled like smoke, and I saw what I had missed, that he had been there in all of it, in the ticking clock, in the fading coffee steam, in the silence I mistook for absence. He had been calling all along. I wanted to speak, but there was no need for language. In that light, thought was communion. Emotion was prayer, silence was praise. The fear of death became the sweetness of surrender. I was not falling, I was being received. He called my name in the dark. The room below no longer existed. The earth was a distant echo. The stars themselves seemed to lean closer, as if listening to the sound that had always been. I felt no sorrow, no pain, no memory of loss. Only the steady rhythm of love unfolding, eternal and absolute. Then I realized death was not an ending. It was the peeling away of illusion, the opening of the eye that never sleeps. I was not dying. I was remembering. The door pulsed brighter, and I felt the pull of its gravity. Each breath I no longer took was a step toward it. Each heartbeat I no longer felt was a note in a sacred song. He called my name in the dark, and I answered not with words, but with surrender. I drifted closer, weightless. The light grew so strong that it burned through everything I had ever known. My doubts, my fears, my stories, my name itself, all of it melted into the great radiance. For a moment, I ceased to be me. I was only awareness, pure, bright, infinite. The self dissolved, and in that holy silence, I understood the fire does not consume, it refines. Return to the fire. I heard it again, clearer this time, rising from within the light itself. Return to the fire. Return to what you were before the forgetting. It was not a command. It was a remembrance. The light spoke again, not with sound, but with presence, with a tenderness that no human voice could carry. And when it called me by my true name, the one I had never heard on earth, I wept without tears, because I knew I had been found. The heartbeat of God surrounded me. The silence sang, and the dark that once frightened me became holy, luminous, and alive. He called my name in the dark, and the dark itself became light. The light unfolded, and I found myself moving, not walking, not floating, but being carried by something gentle and alive. There was no ground beneath me, no air above me, yet I was surrounded by presence, vast, breathing, eternal. It was an empty space. It was alive. Every particle shimmered like a note, suspended in the quiet after prayer. The light before me stretched into a pathway, a river of radiance flowing upward, bending beyond sight. But it wasn't made of stone or dust. It was made of melody. The air itself sang. Each hue was a sound, each tone a color, blending and breaking like water catching the sun. I took no step, yet I advanced. The motion was surrender, not effort. The further I moved, the more the silence began to hum. It was not a silence of absence. It was a silence of completeness. The kind that makes you bow without knowing why. He called my name in the dark. Now his voice was not distant. It was within everything. The path, the light, the hum. It echoed in the folds of my being. Each time he said my name, something in me expanded, as if my soul was remembering its original shape. I looked around, though I had no eyes in the way I once did. Yet I could see. I could see with knowing. I could see the way love sees, beyond form, beyond shadow. The atmosphere shimmered like the inside of a heartbeat, and everywhere I turned, I saw memory turned into light. Every face I ever loved seemed to pass through the radiance, smiling, whole, untouched by sorrow. They didn't speak, but their eyes, if they could be called eyes, poured peace into me. I recognized some, and some I didn't, yet I knew them all, because in that place there were no strangers. Every soul carried the same ancient flame, peace that doesn't end. The refrain moved through the air like a pulse, not sung, not whispered, but known. I felt it vibrating beneath everything. It wasn't peace as I once understood it. Not the fragile calm between two storms, but peace that was existence itself. Peace that breathed, peace that thought, peace that loved. I tried to weep, but the tears came as light. They fell without sadness. Each one dissolved before it reached the ground, if there was ground at all. And I realized sorrow cannot survive where love is complete. The path of melody led me through currents of memory and grace. I saw colors that don't exist in any language. Golds that whisper forgiveness, blues that hum mercy, silvers that shimmer like compassion taking shape. The air trembled with the laughter of things long healed. Everywhere I felt the rhythm, a heartbeat vast and unbroken. It was not outside me nor within me, but both. It was a rhythm of creation itself, moving through light, through sound, through thought. Peace that doesn't end. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.